Good morning, sir.
Hello.
You're Kirk Edwin Jensen? Yes. You got a ticket for no valid operator's license. No license in possession, and I don't think you can actually be convicted of both of those. It's either or. And no proof of insurance. Mr. Marvin said he spoke with you. You don't wish to enter a plea of guilty, which is your right, but you don't wish me to appoint an attorney. Can we just set this for a bench trial?
Or have it's either that or a jury trial, is that what you're saying?
Yes. You have a right to have well, let me ask you this. You don't want me to appoint an attorney. Do you wish to hire one?
No, I really don't even want to contract with the Crown Corporation here. This has really turned into a religious persecution issue because, and I'm sure you can see, I canceled that driver's license 13 years ago because I didn't want to have that contract any longer. And I wanted to get out of that system and be completely separate. So I went with a different government altogether, with a different issuing authority. And I have documentation in the form of an international driving permit, which Mr. Marvin acknowledged he is aware of because he said he used to have one. So he knows about them, and that's what I had when I presented it to the officer. For whatever reason, the officer thinks it's not valid or that it's fraudulent, and that is his choice to decide that. But the charge of not having any driver's license on me is not true because I did have it on me.
Do you have it with you today?
No, he has it.
Who has it?
The Officer Brooks, who took it from me. I have an international driving permit and a passport that was issued by a different governing authority than the United States, and for whatever reason they're choosing not to acknowledge it. But it already has been.
Well, that's an interesting defense. Now, we've been struggling with international driver's licenses, and for one issue, you have to be in the country legally. So we've got a number of Mexican people that have Mexican driver's license from Michoacan or Jalisco or one of the Mexican states. But if they're not here legally, it doesn't matter. You're obviously here legally. You were born a citizen. You may have.
I've changed my nationality is what I've done.
Where's your passport from?
It's issued by the government of the United States of America. It's not a blue passport. It's a different colored passport than that. Mr. Marvin says that there's no such thing as that, and that's fine if he wants to choose to do that. But I have had no issue. I have had no issue from anyone or anything using that. Granted, I have not gone out of the country with that yet. I have not had the means to do so.
Yeah, good luck.
But
good luck trying to get back in. My advice is don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be a man with no country. So don't leave the country, but you're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, I have a right to change my nationality. And the Crown Corporation here is trying to deny me that nationality, which really falls under a religious persecution issue here, because I don't want to have any more dealings with the Crown Corporation. And so
I don't know what universe you're from, but there is no Crown Corporation. This is the state of Michigan. And in the state of Michigan, you have to have a driver's license. You may have one. Your operator's license, you're right, is canceled. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I cut it up and I sent it back to the Secretary of State 13 years ago. I did not want to have that contract any longer.
Well, you got convicted in Niles in 2019 of no ops. You failed to appear. They defaulted you, I guess. But yeah, they've got your old driver's license picture in here. But yeah, you don't have a bad driving record. There's no speeding, seatbelt.
I'm not a bad guy. I just want to get around differently.
You were here on May 11th.
Correct.
And you wanted the complaint dismissed. You told me that you had an license canceled and lien. So I set up for the pretrial, which is what we just did. All right. Now I got a concern that the officer has your license.
Yeah, he still has it. He doesn't, I don't know why he hasn't given it back to me yet.
Well, I want to see it. All right. So Mr. Marvin says we haven't reached a settlement. You believe you have a defense. You don't want to have an attorney. So the question becomes, we set it for a trial. And do we set it for a trial in front of the judge, or do you wish to have a jury come in and hear this?
I want to just plain have it settled, and whether it's with him and you.
Well, I don't have the authority to settle it. He does. I can set it for what's called a last pretrial before jury trial. And I will get your international, this may be more of a legal issue than a factual issue. You were driving in the state of Michigan and you don't have a Michigan driver's license. But you may have a valid international license. I don't know. There's no, now the prosecutor has the police report. I don't.
The other thing that I failed to mention was that I was also under contract. While I was driving that, I was under a legal contract, and obviously that contract was impaired while I was trying to fulfill the obligations of that contract.
That's alternate universe stuff. There's no contract. The issue is,
I mean the owner of the vehicle. I had a contract with the owner of the vehicle. I was under contract to perform some services for the owner of the vehicle.
Oh, okay, so all right. That may be so, but then you may need a CDL to do that.
Your Honor,
yes?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at that statute in like years, but doesn't an international license have to have a prerequisite of a valid license from some place before you can apply for that international license?
And I had a national one too as well.
So I don't know.
I believe that's a prerequisite, but I don't know.
All right, well, it may be, but we've got a legal issue, and I don't even. He's got a theory that may have no basis or may have some basis. We have recently had a man from India who tried to do everything right.
Right, I remember him.
And it's so cumbersome and difficult. And he really he was living here. He had a driver's license from India. He got an international driver's license. Or he had a New York license, and somewhere he forgot to dot an I or cross a T. All right, I'm going to set this for a last pretrial, but I need.
And what does that mean?
It means we're going to take one more effort at resolving this thing, but I need to see your evidence.
Okay. Well, I can tell you the Officer Brooks, he's the one that has it.
All right. An attorney could help you with the legal issues on this. You don't wish to have?
No, I have other representation.
When you were here at your arraignment in May, you were very polite and respectful, and we don't agree on things, but let's take a closer look before I jump to any conclusions.
And I'll have a lot more evidence at that time. Yeah.
And if it can be resolved, great. If it can't be, the question at that point will be, do we have a jury trial or do we have a bench trial? And one of the things about people like you that want to check out of our government and our system, they don't mind bringing in 30 of their fellow citizens to come in and hear their thing. The irony is, if I sent you a jury notice, you wouldn't show up. You would say, I don't contract with you and I won't participate in your system. But you don't have any compunction about dragging 30 other people in here to hear your case. So at this point, we haven't gotten that far.
Can we just decide that in 2 weeks?
Yes,
Okay.
certainly. So let's see, I want to get those documents from the sheriff's department, take a look at them.
Okay.
There may need to be some legal research done as well. But you're putting the burden on them, which is how it sort of works.
Yeah.
They have the burden of proving it beyond a reasonable doubt. So you raise this defense and say, prove it's not right. Well, that isn't exactly how it works. You've got to show there's some merit to the defense. Key West used to offer passports to the Conch Republic. There was a little place there, and you could get a Conch Republic passport, and it looked like a real passport. And they shut them down. People were using them in other countries to show they had a Conch Republic quasi-American passport. So there's all kinds of screwy passports out there.
And I understand that there's nefarious people who want to do things for nefarious purposes, and that's not me. I don't want to do anything for nefarious or evil purposes. I'm trying to be upright and righteous here in what I'm doing. And I'm just simply wanting to be separate according to my religious beliefs. And that's all this really boils down to.
All right. Well, one option is don't drive a car. If you don't want to participate in it and you want to opt out of our system, don't drive. Have somebody else drive you or stay in one place. But if you want to use our public roadways and share the road with other people that are licensed, you can't just decide I live in an alternate universe and I don't have to obey the same rules that everybody else does. So one option is don't drive. And then you won't have to worry about it, but we'll see what we can figure out. We'll take another crack at this June 29th at 3 p.m. here, and I'll get those documents. If you have proof of insurance, bring it with you.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you then.
Okay.
Please subscribe to help the channel.
This courtroom hearing unfolds as a striking clash between legal reality and an individual who believes he can simply opt out of the system. The case centers on Kirk Edwin Jensen, a man ticketed for driving without a valid operator's license, no license in possession, and no proof of insurance. What initially appears to be a routine traffic matter quickly transforms into a surreal and intense legal exchange. From the beginning, Jensen makes it clear that he does not recognize the authority of the state in the way most citizens do. He calmly explains to the judge that he voluntarily canceled his Michigan driver's license over a decade ago because he no longer wished to be part of what he repeatedly refers to as a contract with the government. In his view, holding a driver's license is not a legal requirement but a voluntary agreement, one he believes he lawfully terminated years earlier instead of a state-issued license. Jensen claims he now operates under a completely different authority. He insists that he possesses an international driving permit issued by what he calls an alternative governing body. According to him, this document is valid, lawful, and sufficient. He argues that the officer's refusal to accept it was a matter of personal choice, not legal fact. Jensen further claims the officer confiscated the document and still has it, reinforcing his belief that his rights were violated. As the judge listens, patience begins to thin, not out of hostility, but out of disbelief. The judge methodically explains that international driving permits do not replace a valid state driver's license, especially for U.S. citizens driving within Michigan. Jensen counters with an even more extraordinary claim. He says he has changed his nationality altogether, citing the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as justification. When the judge asks a simple, direct question, "Where is your passport from?" Jensen's answer only deepens the confusion. He says it was issued by the United States, but insists it is not the standard blue passport. The judge, clearly skeptical, points out that no such alternative passport exists within the legal framework. Jensen brushes this off, saying officials are simply choosing not to acknowledge his status. At this point, the court atmosphere shifts. The judge bluntly states there is no Crown Corporation, no alternate universe, and no special exemption from Michigan law. If someone wants to drive on public roads, they must follow the same rules as everyone else. The judge emphasizes that Jensen may not be a reckless or dangerous driver. His record shows no major infractions. But that does not exempt him from licensing requirements. Jensen continues to frame the issue as religious persecution, insisting that his beliefs require him to remain separate from government authority. The judge responds firmly but fairly, stating that religious beliefs do not override public safety laws. Driving is a regulated privilege, not a spiritual practice. As the discussion turns to procedure, the judge explains Jensen's options clearly. He can proceed with a bench trial, request a jury trial, or attempt one final pretrial resolution. Jensen refuses a court-appointed attorney, stating he has other representation, though none appears in court. One of the most striking moments comes when the judge points out the irony of Jensen's position. The judge notes that people who claim they don't participate in government systems often have no problem demanding jury trials, which require calling in 30 fellow citizens to serve. The judge remarks that if Jensen himself were summoned for jury duty, he would likely refuse to appear, claiming he does not contract with the state. That observation lands heavily in the courtroom. Ultimately, the judge chooses restraint over immediate judgment. Rather than dismissing Jensen outright or forcing the case forward, the court schedules a final pretrial, requesting all documentation related to the so-called international license and insurance. The judge makes it clear, however, that Jensen bears the burden of showing that his defense has legitimate legal merit, not just philosophical arguments. Before closing, the judge delivers a grounded and powerful reality check. If Jensen truly wishes to opt out of the system, he is free to do so, but not while using public roads. If he wants complete separation, he must also give up the privileges that come with shared society. The hearing ends without shouting, insults, or chaos, but with a sharp contrast between ideology and law. It is a moment that perfectly captures the tension between personal belief and communal responsibility, leaving viewers with a clear message: you cannot reject the rules while demanding the benefits of the system. If you believe laws apply to everyone, hit like right now. Comment below: should personal beliefs override public law or not? Subscribe for more shocking courtroom moments where reality hits hard.